Welcome to the MC Showroom. We would like to acknowledge that the Boon Wurrung and Wurundjeri peoples of the Kulin Nation are the traditional custodians of this land on which we gather and create today. And we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who are here today. This is a reminder to turn your mobile phone on mute. And please note that no film recording is permitted unless previously approved by the show producer. Thank you and enjoy the show.
I'd like you all to take a moment and think back to the first week of March 2020, the last week of so-called normality, when all of a sudden this invisible cloud that was hanging over us was no longer invisible. Within a couple of weeks, we were all stuck at home with nothing but time and questions. How did you feel? What questions did you have? Were you stressed? Anxious? Did you absolutely feel like you had to know what was going to happen next? That's how I feel every day. That's how I've been feeling my whole life. My name is Joshua Batten, and when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with what's now called autism spectrum disorder. And it's called a spectrum because there's no one way that autism manifests itself. There's various levels of functionality, and no two people on the spectrum are ever the same. But across that spectrum, there's symptoms, call signs, and traits that can be identified. Here's just a few that apply to me. I've always longed for acceptance, even though I have trouble socializing. I get deeply invested in my passions, and I feel like I work best when I have structure. And I think in March 2020, when we all lost the structure and routine that we'd taken for granted for so long, all of a sudden everyone was on the same level as me. Everyone was scared and angry, trying to find a way out, a reason why all this was happening. Tonight, I want to break down the barriers of neurodiversity, because we are all diverse. And yes, we all collectively went through this shared experience with similar emotions, but it's how you deal with those emotions that affect your mental health in the long run. This is my journey of self-discovery, how I used the last couple of years to challenge myself until I reached a point where I could truly learn to live again. So let's go back to that weekend, our breakup with normality, clinging to what we had before facing what was yet to come. Thought the storm was over, that everything I'd been waiting for was here. I thought it was here, or at least drawing near. After the fires and floods, thought we learned our mistakes and that soon we'd be free. I thought I could see what I was meant to be. One last night before we lose control, and we're left with nothing but memories of how everything used to be before all the fighting took over our lives. One last chance to live like there's nothing to lose. It's not just a tale from the news, so close to a state of fulfillment. You're still meant to be my consistent persistence. Where do we go from here? Sign up ahead, looking all too clear. It's that old heavy road and it's starting to drag me down. What can we do right now? World's on fire and we don't know how to get off that old heavy road. Is it too late to turn back around? I feel like by now I've got used to it, but that doesn't soften the blow. keep on forgetting what I already know. Thought the map was in place, destination on course as we followed the star. Look where we are, still it don't seem so far. Constellations are changing, obscured by the clouds, now they shelter the sky, and I keep passing by. How did they get so high? One last night before our freedom is gone, recover and capture the memories of how everything used to be before all the shouting took over our lives. One last chance to live like there's nothing to lose. I wish I could turn off the news. So close to a state of fulfillment, it's still meant to be my consistent persistence. Where do we go from here? Sign up ahead, looking all too clear. It's that old heavy road and it's starting to drag me down. What can we do right now? The world's on fire and we don't know how to get off that old heavy road. Is it too late to turn back around? I feel like by now I've got used to it, but that doesn't soften the blow. Keep on forgetting what I already know. And no, nothing good ever comes from the 5 a.m. phone calls, gathering bricks, trying to build up our own walls. Stop all your blaming, stop all your crying. Let's rebuild the tower we spent so long trying to find. Remember the joy when we found it, surrounded by sounds of exuberance, down in the depths of our love for the things we held dear. Thought they'd carry us through when the hope disappeared. Now it feels like your only concern is the pressure, stirring things up till I'm down in depression. What started out small, a mild irritation, in just a few days has become intimidation. So let's try to break out of this foregone conclusion. Ignore all the problems to find a solution. I'm sick of the sinking and driving around on this old heavy road. Your directions are dragging me down. Where do we go from here? And then all of a sudden we were in lockdown. No timeline, no roadmap out, nothing to look forward to. Just this emptiness, each in our own fortress of solitude, imprisoned for crimes we didn't commit, with nothing but the memories of simpler times. Summer, I feel so cold, broken my wings trying to fit the mold. More questions than answers, so much unknown. The numbers go up, but I'm down here alone. First day in the new world, but what does that mean? How many changes affect my routine? Plans in captivity, hope lost in time. My own private prison cell, but I've done no crime. They say this phase won't last long, but I've done my research and I know they're wrong. My hopes and Yes turns to maybe, then maybe turns to no. Stare at the picture with nowhere to go. The candle burns faster each empty day. Give into nostalgia, start drifting away. They say this phase won't last long, but I've done my research and I know they're wrong. My hopes and dreams, they've been mislaid. Regression takes hold as the meaning fades. Here in my fortress, lost in the phantom zone, yearning for solace, spiraling down resolution unknown. Here in my fortress, inside my mind I'm lost at sea, yearning for solace. Into the void, let the waves carry me. Out the window, time on my side. I'm in a void somewhere in between. Head on the pillow, eyes open wide. Here in my room, shut out the gloom, leaving this world of uncertainty behind. So a common question in psychology is, what's the difference between anxiety and depression? Because there's quite a few common traits. According to said psychiatrists, the main difference is that anxiety is fueled by fear of the future, fear of the unknown, and depression is fueled by nostalgia, rumination, memories of the past. It's a regression. So I guess you could say my first response to lockdown was depression. I started reminiscing on all the overseas trips I took before, all the chaos. It was just an easy escape from the madness of the real world. But the more I thought back and remembered every day, every minute of those trips, the more I started to remember the flaws, the imperfections, and the not-so-great moments that I encountered. For instance, a few years ago, I went to Rome for the first time, and I'd prepared myself mentally for hearing Italian accents everywhere I went. But of course, I'd forgotten to take into account that Rome was and now is once again one of the top tourist traps in the world. So I was surrounded by American accents, German accents, Brazilian accents. Basically, everyone in Italy was from somewhere other than Italy. And so I had to fight this urge to eavesdrop on other people's conversations and take their story for a future song. And Looking back on it now, I'm glad I resisted that urge, because there are times when you've got to stop living in someone else's shadow and go on your own adventure. If you hear everybody's story, you forget to write a story of your own. Day, I thought I heard something familiar, a dialect I've heard somewhere before. Another traveler on his way, still his presence seemed peculiar. The notes he's singing don't quite match the written score. I never expected to be here now, painting a picture, don't know how to brush out the people passing by. I'm having a hard time taking it in like a song, I don't know where to begin. Wanna hear everybody's story, wanna hear everybody's story. I'm having a hard time trying to ignore the voices and tales I've heard before. If I hear everybody's story, if I hear everybody's story, I'll begin to write a story of my own. So many miles away from home, shuffling through the ancient history, sharing it with strangers from afar. Silent statues carved in stone, standing out amongst the greenery. Still I hear them and it all seems so bizarre. Could it be anywhere else today? But I can't find the words to say. And if you were here, then you'd hear why. I'm having a hard time taking it in like a song, I don't know where to begin. Wanna hear everybody's story, wanna hear everybody's story. I'm having a hard time trying to ignore the voices and tales I've heard before. If I hear everybody's story, if I hear everybody's story, I'll begin to write a story of my own. I'll be standing around in the courtyard wasting time, using every part of my body except my mind. But here and now there's only so much I can comprehend. Taking off my shades, 'cause I might not be here again. I'm having a hard time taking it in like a song, I don't know where to begin. Wanna hear everybody's story, wanna hear everybody's story. But the voices and tales I've all heard before, there's no indication of what's in store. If I hear everybody's story, if I hear everybody's story, I'll forget to write a story of my own. I'll forget to write a story of my own. So, after we finished up in Italy, we went on to London. And when I was 10 or 11 years old, all I ever wanted was to go to London. More than Disneyland, more than America. In fact, it was kind of like Disneyland, but with a little bit more, what's the word, integrity? Yes? I don't know, for lack of a better term. By the time I finally got to go to London, I was 23. And having stood in the hearts of many cities around the world, there's not a hell of a lot that makes London stand out. And my dad actually had a very good quote, because before we went over there, he'd always wanted to go and visit Hamley's Toy Emporium. But of course, he grew up in the days of slot cars and Meccano towers and model railways. And now, of course, there's just entire floors dedicated to Lego and Transformers and Star Wars and Harry Potter. And as we were walking out, he said to me, "I think we got here 40 years too late." I think some of you guys can relate. The world's getting smaller, and we're all getting older. Our dreams are fading, and it feels like nothing's coming in to take their place. Round about tea time, step off the train, Victoria Station, out into the rain. Taxis are waiting to take me on my way into the city, trying to brighten up my day. Sink a little underneath the skin, all the mystery disappears within. Oh, Brittania, where has the magic gone? Once so mighty, now you don't look so strong. The streets of London don't cross over with the stories I've been told. Oh, Brittania, why'd you have to get so cold? Seems so civil down by Trafalgar Square. Past the cobblestones, the city's been stripped bare. Every shop in Tin Pan Alley looks the same. Oxford Street so upper class, the circus lights have lost their flame. Can't you leave a light on just for me? For all my dreams and everything I hope to be. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Brittania, where has the magic gone? Once so mighty, now you don't look so strong. The streets of London don't cross over with the stories I've been told. Oh, Brittania, why you have to get so cold? Crawl out from the reverie, reassess the fantasy. Why am I still carrying the weight of previous generations and all their expectations? I might as well be 30 years too late. How much longer?
How much longer?
How much longer am I gonna have to wait? Oh, Brittania, where has the magic gone? Once so mighty, now you don't look With my fantasy shattered, I came back to reality. By now, the whole world was in hibernation. No end in sight. The only things we were allowed to leave the house for were groceries and exercise. So I went down to the corner store one morning to get my bread and milk. And when I got there, it just felt like time had stopped. Everything was so still, so empty. Like those early hours of the morning when the shopkeepers are just opening up and the cyclists are out with the dog walkers and the joggers. And I thought, surely we can't be stuck like this forever. We'll break out of that cycle. Spent so long in waiting for the moment to arrive. Thought I'd set my destination. I thought the fear had passed me by. When you're so close to a breakthrough, but you're broken up inside, life is still but still in motion. Silent chaos fills the tide. So concerned with past and future, 'cause the present feels too slow. Keep on hoping for an answer so we can get on with the show. In a shadow of the world we used to know. Well, I don't need a fixer to get me through each day, but I feel like we're all stuck at 5 a.m. What we had is all but gone, still we carry on. Won't somebody tell me how long till we learn to live again? Information never changes, so I carry on each day, hoping maybe I'll recover and I can go back on display. But when I try to make it simple, I'm confounded every time. Far too much for me to handle, one too many hills to climb. So I'll stay on the ground in my own mind. Up to get me through each day, but I feel like we're all stuck at 5 a.m. What we had is all but gone, still we carry on. Won't somebody tell me how long till we learn to live again? Tell me how long, tell me how long till we learn to live again. Spent so long in waiting for the moment to arrive. Before 2020, I was a total political abstinent. I never watched the news, and I couldn't tell you the difference between the two parties. But then I spent many, many months waking up to this same voice coming from the TV, this infamous state premier with his rules and daily updates. And I think he just kind of kept on giving us variations of the same lines over and over, a lot of facts and figures, but not really a lot of hope or empathy. And I thought, this guy's kind of the gatekeeper of the fortress, the warden, keeping us all sedated. And maybe if there's a change in leadership, then this whole nightmare will be over and we can all just go back to normal. Of course, there's never a mutiny in the middle of a storm, but when you're angry, you lose all sense of reason and logic. So I just kept on shouting until it was so noisy and dark inside my own head, I couldn't even see who I was shouting at anymore. You're the man atop the tower. You're the face on all the screens. Giving so much information I don't know what to believe. The rockets in the sky, they're all falling back to earth. Every day a new diversion. Don't you know what life is worth? Longing for freedom, waiting on the day we can finally take back all that trust you threw away. Hey! Give up the throne, lay down your game. Too much confusion, it's all been in vain. Give up the throne, lay down your game. Too much confusion, it's all been in vain. Do you listen to the feedback? Or are you doing all you can? With no concern for right or wrong, do you even have a plan? For those who sing your praises, there's hundreds on the side. And your whispers only serve to help expand the great divide. Longing for freedom, waiting on the day when we can finally take back all that trust you threw away. Longing for freedom, waiting for the cure. 'Cause right now we're all pieces in your ego-driven war. So give up the throne, lay down your game. Too much confusion, it's all been in vain. Why don't you give up the throne, lay down your game. Too much confusion, it's all been in vain. Digging deeper till you're stuck inside your hole. I'll just be here sitting with these things I can't control. So hard to see the future when you can't ignore the past. Crying out for common sense. Lord, I hope it's coming fast. Come on and give up the throne. Lay down your game. Too much confusion, it's all been in vain. Why don't you give up the throne? Lay down your game. Too much confusion, it's all been in vain. Give up the throne. Can you remember your name? Give up the throne. There's a key line in that song that I want to highlight, and it's, I'll just be here sitting with these things I can't control. Who says I have no control? I mean, yeah, there's this virus that's raging across the planet, and we're all stuck at home, and I can't control that. But what I can control is my emotional response. So finally, I had to change course. If I was going to stop sinking and start getting back above the water, I was going to have to look inward. And so I started going over all the mistakes I had made in the past and tried to really figure out what caused me to make those mistakes in the first place. This next song cycle is my existential journey. My own private therapy session, laid out for all of you here tonight. What have I become? Sitting in a glass house, throwing stones at everyone. I've been cynical, waiting on a miracle to reconstruct a mind beyond repair. Patience wearing thin, well beyond the burnout, only emptiness within. Who can I believe? How can I achieve perfection? Am I living in a castle in the air? Why does it always take so long? The state of the world has all gone wrong. Dream of a future I can't see. What if I'm the one who can't break free? Trying to comprehend why I'm acting out the same mistakes again. Scatter my emotions upon the broken ground. Plan is incomplete. I made too many promises I never meant to keep. Now I'm pulling back the curtain on the theater in the round. Well, I never meant to be so cold, but now's the time to break that mold. Here in the bubble there's no change. Must be something I can rearrange. Running high on intuition, magnify my inhibition. When I look back on the times I lost momentum, the only common thread was a failure to adapt to changing currents, thinking way too far ahead, following the colors and the details. The bigger picture fades to gray, telling the stories but the morals have gone hazy. Soon there'll be nothing left to say. Treading on the water, drowning in the past. Roaring of the ocean, hope is sinking fast. Spent so long and waiting for the moment. And moments come and go, wasting minutes in the hope of finding hours as the workload overflows. Still I overthink instead of taking action. My mistakes become regret, telling the stories but the morals have gone hazy. Soon there'll be nothing left to say. Treading on the water, drowning in the past. Roaring on the ocean, hope is sinking fast. I'm a virus in the system, a glitch in the machine, a broken mind behind the eyes. My obsession with perfection has led me to a wall. How can I learn to live again if I never lived before? Sink a little underneath the skin. All the mystery has disappeared within, laying all the secrets out. Isolate the fear and doubt that keeps me paralyzed and causes me to overanalyze every choice I've ever made. I've been bending over backwards, but my habits never break. Why should I change my dream when my self-esteem is at an all-time low? Don't think I can take another blow. Here at the deep end, I can clearly see the trick to getting through adversity. The breathing and the balance I achieve when I ignore that little voice and try to make a better choice. Now the voice is getting louder, it's harder to ignore. Every setback I So now the ship has hit the iceberg. I've dismantled my beliefs and my lifestyle and my goals, and I can feel the ship going down, sinking deeper into the ocean. So how do you escape a shipwreck? You get in a lifeboat and you start paddling towards the nearest body of land, but you only take the essentials with you. Everything else stays behind. And when you first start paddling, that wreckage and that stuff that weighed you down was still going to be there off in the distance behind you. And as much as you want to go back for it and cling onto it, you've got to keep going, you've got to keep paddling until you're so far ahead and so far off that you can't even see the wreckage behind you in the distance, and you could start over with those essentials. It took a lot of patience and persistence for me to ignore the voice in my head that weighs me down, but by focusing on my best qualities and letting them dominate my mindset, I was able to work towards cutting those thoughts adrift and pushing them away. Been in my shadow, keeping one step behind, thinking I wouldn't notice you were chewing up my pride. The bone's almost dry now. How much more can you take? Breaking down what used to give me joy, till it's all empty space. You're the devil on my shoulder, keep on telling me to wait, till I can see the sun on a clear day. The ship is going down, but I'm working up the strength to cut you adrift and push you away. Whoa, back at the beginning, when I learned how to care, didn't notice your presence. It's like you weren't even there. Well, every time there was disruption, you found your way into my heart, shoved me off from the outside world to tear the inside apart. Well, you mark me with your dagger when the treasure lies ahead. You leave me on an island of fear and dismay. The ship is going down, but I'm working up the strength to cut you adrift, push you away. Everybody got their demons wrapped up inside. It's time I stop waiting. I'm gonna learn to let it turn with the tide. contemplation is one more wasted breath. Taking control, starting a day. The ship is going down, but I'm working up the strength to cut you adrift. Cut you adrift now. Cut you adrift and push you away. Now I've done all this soul-searching, all this reflecting, but just because things have opened up again, doesn't mean the journey's over. In fact, even in the last few weeks and months leading up to this show, I've still had my low moments. I still get anxious, I still get stressed, I still feel like I'm getting crushed under the weight of my own ambitions. But I know I can't give up. I started out tonight by telling you guys about my autistic traits, my longing for acceptance, my need for structure, and my deeply passionate nature. And I had to come to accept that those aren't the things that weigh me down. They're the essentials that keep me afloat. Every amazing thing that's happened in my life has been from following music as my passion and being a musician. It's given me structure, it's given me personal and professional relationships, and it's the reason why all of you guys are here tonight. There's so much music out there now, and the days of wanting to be a quote-unquote headlining rock star, playing to the biggest crowds and the biggest stadiums in a situation like this, but just amplified tenfold, those days are kind of gone. But that's also a good thing, because there's no point trying to copy what's been done before. I need to forge my own path, weather my own storm, and tell my own story. There's a lot in common between being creative and navigating life. We spend our formative years building up a toolbox, but we don't always know which tools are the most essential. We only find that out once we accept the challenges. It's like a Lego set. Open the box, take out the pieces, and start building. And don't be afraid to try something new along the way. Open up to see the tools at our disposal. What's it gonna be? Take flight, no instructions necessary, navigating branches of the tree. Fantasize, all the elements are placed in front of us. Try not to overthink. Visualize, make it look like something everyone connects to. Heart and soul in sync. Put your fear and doubt aside. Touch the power, take the ride. Build it up and lay it down. Life is an open box. Take it apart and break the rules. By piece, turn it into something new. Just imagine what we can do. work in progress. The more we spend our time together, the more we realize what can be redone. Side by side, put it on display for all to come and see the challenges we've overcome. If it seems a bit offset, that's 'cause when I finish, yeah, there's still space that we can fill. Life is an open box. Take it apart and break the rules. Rebuild it piece by piece. Turn it into something new. Just imagine what we can do. This is one way to tell the story. In the end, it's up to you. If you wanna learn to live again, you gotta learn to push on through. Climbing up the mountain, we're bound to trip and fall. Still we build ourselves back up and rise above it all. If we're all part of a team, with our buildings and machines, little people, big ideas. Life is an open box. Take it apart and break the rules. Rebuild it piece by piece. Turn it into something new. Just imagine, just imagine. Life is an open box. Take it apart and break the rules. Life is an open box. Take it apart and break the rules. Come on, everybody. This is one way to tell the story. In the end, it's up to you. If you wanna learn to live again, you gotta learn to push on through. Climbing up the mountain, bound to trip and fall. Still we build ourselves back up and rise above it all. Rise above it all. Rebuild it piece by piece. Turn it into something new. Just imagine what we can do. The end is not the end, so make a new beginning. Adjusting expectations on the way. As I learn to navigate this gift that I've been given, start to share the role I've always played. Every time I had a part, I change the song within my heart. Conjure up a melody inside. I find my inner self by working on my mental health. Restructuring the purpose of my life. There'll always be those circumstances I just can't control. And yes, there's still so much for me to learn and room to grow. But now I've found the strength to guide me through the ebb and flow. 'Cause now crazy from Franca, Locandro on my right. Thank you so much to Jason on lighting and sound. My name is Joshua Batten. Thanks so much for coming on the journey with me.